Nearly everyone looks at student debt as a national problem, but it must be viewed from the state, institutional, and personal level simultaneously. Here's why. If student debt were a national problem, it could only be so if all states treated students equally. That is not the case. States' grants in aids to full-time students differ greatly. For example, Montana grants less than $10 per full-time equivalent student in grant aid. On the other end of the spectrum, Georgia grants $2,370 per full-time student in grant aid. A student from Montana and a student from Georgia who seek federal grant aid cannot be granted the same level of aid because of different levels of state support, all according to the College Board. Merit-based grants, recognizing student ability, indicates a sound investment based on the likelihood of success. It is healthy from my perspective. As attractive as it may be to grant aid students equally, regardless of ability, it would not likely prove to be a prudent investment. Additionally, this approach could shift the sense of responsibility for repayment from the student to the state. Levels of support through direct state appropriations vary markedly from state to state. The top 25% of states supporting higher education range from over $8,000 per full-time student to almost $23,000 per full-time student. Lastly, institutional revenues or the combined state and local funding for universities vary widely. New Hampshire invests the least in higher education from all state and local sources, totaling slightly over $2,000 per full-time equivalent student. In Alaska, total spending from state and local sources exceeded $19,000 per student. Texas was slightly less than the U.S. average of $8,200 per student. Student borrowing rests firmly on the shoulders of students. In nearly every national election, for offices from the Congress to the presidency, political dialogue includes a discussion of ways to forgive student debt. However comforting the goals of relieving student debt may be to indebted students, nothing currently lifts the borrowing burden off the backs of those students. There may not be a student debt problem after all. The real and more vexing problem may be the concept of individual fiscal responsibility in a free society. It is the foundation of that society. Student indebtedness may be the tip of the iceberg that sinks a free society. This video is a short summary of student debt, a national, state, institutional, or personal problem. For the full op-ed with complete references and more information, visit walterwendler.com. One click away and available through the link below.